Hi, this is Judy from Bungalow Quilting and Yarn, and today we're going to talk about how to size a pattern and how to read a pattern. So we're going to keep this video nice and short. We're not going to go through the whole layout of the pattern. That'll be for a separate video. So we're going to talk about the big three pattern companies, and we're going to talk about independent pattern companies. And we're going to talk about how to read the pattern and how to size a pattern. So now we're going to talk about how to read a pattern, and I know that maybe that sounds remedial, but there are probably a lot of people who have never been introduced to how to read a pattern. We don't have home ec classes anymore, and there are a lot of people who don't have access to 4-H clubs and things like that, so they see this and they wouldn't have a clue as to how to read it. So I'm not going to assume that anybody knows anything at all. This is strictly for the very beginner garment sewer. So here's a pattern, it's Butterick, and here is a pattern by Liesl & Company. So what's the difference? So this is an independent pattern company, independent designers, which are smaller companies, and Butterick belongs to the big three. So if you hear people referring to the big three, you're usually talking about McCall Simplicity and Vogue. And these companies, Butterick is probably a division of one of them. I'm not sure which one it started out as being a division of, but it doesn't matter. These are the larger companies. These are the fabrics you find in the big box stores. They're in great big drawers you pull out, and they've got catalogs to look through to pick them out. And they're reliable. They're very reliable. They've been around for a really long time. And they were here long before independent pattern companies, even though there have always been independent pattern companies. Now we've just seen a lot more of them come about, which is a good thing. This is Liesl & Company. It's very reliable. The one downside to some of these smaller independent retailer pattern companies are that some of these are young people and they really never did get trained. When you look at some of these patterns, you're like, wow, they didn't have a basic sewing class. Because if you can see that there's like kind of shortcut ways to putting in necklines and armholes and things like that where they're just turning them under and stitching them down. That's not appropriate. Unfortunately, for a new sewer, you're not going to know which ones are good ones and which ones are kind of done on the fly and so learn as you go kind of thing. So what I would suggest is to ask in a quilt shop or a sewing establishment, a retail establishment, which patterns are reliable in terms of which ones will give you good direction and have you sew the proper way. I want to make a note that Nancy Zieman has passed, and we miss her desperately because she was truly the expert and she really, really knew what she was talking about. If she said it, that was the right way to do it. So that's just a little aside about how much Nancy Zieman is missed. Okay, so you're going to look at a pattern, you say, oh, I really love this pattern and I want to make this for my daughter or my niece or whatever. It's such a cute little dress and it looks fairly simple, and it is really simple. But you can't always tell from the front of the pattern because this is a busy print, so you can't tell the details. You cannot tell that there are details in the sleeves around the neckline. You're not really sure how that neckline is made. So one of the ways that you can tell is by flipping the pattern over, and they have rough sketches on the back. Not rough sketches, they have sketches on the back. So from the sketch on the back, you can very much see it's an elastic casing around the neckline with raglan sleeves as opposed to a set-in sleeve. A raglan sleeve is kind of like what we used to call a baseball shirt type sleeve, where you would put it on a straight seam here, and then there's a straight seam on the back of it instead of going around like this one is. This is a regular set-in sleeve. So there are different types of sleeves. Okay, so you've determined that you like this pattern, you like this dress. This is view C. So there are letters that accompany each design on the front. There's the shorts are D, view D, and then this top is view A. And then there's pants, and those are view F. These pants are view E, little purse, view G. So we're gonna go on the back and we're gonna find the corresponding things. Now look at this pants. This will tell you that the pants are basically all the same, except the different lengths are what makes D, E, and F. So D is the shorts, E are the capri style, and F is the full length pant. This is also size D, but here they've added pockets. All right, so make sure to pay attention to the drawings on the back of a pattern so that you can see the differences in all the different options that are in this pattern. Okay, so over here we have where it tells you how much fabric you're going to need. Up here, it will tell you what kinds of things you need besides just the fabric. You might need elastic, You might need buttons. You might need interfacing. This says purchase trim, and my hunch is that that is for like the bottom down here. This is purchased lace. Okay, so look at that last though. First, what you want to look at is, the first thing you want to look at is how much fabric you're going to need. So fabric comes in the store on bolts, and it comes in different widths. So you'll see some bolts that look big and long and some that look a little shorter. The big long ones are usually 60-inch wide fabric. Typically that is a knit or a home decor kind of fabric. 45-inch are usually the cottons, quilting cottons, that kind of thing. Garments, fabric for garments like satins, crepes, that kind of thing, they're usually 60 inches wide. So let's say you wanted to make this for a little 3-year-old girl, and you are in the store and you don't know what fabric to buy, and you go and you ask somebody and they say, you see, this is a really cute print, I like this one. Is this 45-inch or 60-inch? And they'll tell you in the store which one is 45 inches and which ones are 60 inches. And let's say you picked 45-inch fabric and you wanted to make this dress C, okay? And let's say you're gonna make it for a 3-year-old girl. So you pick dress C and you've got 45-inch fabric and you want a size 3. You're gonna need 7/8 of a yard. See that? 7/8 of a yard. So these charts aren't really that hard to read. This will tell you the sizes across the top, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, what does it have on the front of here? This only goes to size 5. So make sure you have the right pattern. This only goes 2, 3, 4, 5. But this tells you that this pattern is available all the way up to size 8. So make sure you've got the right pattern. All right, so 45-inch, that's how much you're going to need. All right, so then it also is telling you that for view G, you're going to need some fusible interfacing. But if you're not doing view G, don't worry about it. And that's the purse. Okay, so don't worry about that kind of thing. So always look to see what view you're going to do. You're doing view C. That has some trim on it. If you're not going to do the trim, ignore that too. But know that this is the section right here that tells you how much fabric you're going to need. Now, down here, it tells you a little bit about what kind of fabric works best for this outfit. This is designed for lightweight knits, all right? These views are designed for the lightweight knits, probably because these views need to stretch a little bit more. If you're making the view A, which is just the basic dress, you can just do that out of a regular cotton, or view A is the top. Let's see, what was the view C? Okay, so let's go back here. Probably because there's no buttons and there's no zipper. Yeah, view C says lightweight knits. Honestly, I've done this pattern before and I did it out of a regular cotton and it was just fine because there's elastic up around the neck. And that's another thing that just comes with age and with time and with sewing a lot, knowing whether you can sub in a different fabric. Typically, if something doesn't have, just remember this, if something doesn't have buttons down the front or a zipper in the back, you're gonna need to think knit because it's gonna have to get pulled over the top of somebody's head, and so it's gonna have stretch, all right? So this is cotton knit jersey, and that's the other thing. Beginner sewers, you're not gonna know what jersey is, you're not gonna know what broadcloth is, you'll probably know what denim is because everybody wears jeans. But don't feel like you're stupid. Nobody's born with this knowledge, okay? So let's go over to the independent pattern and let's see how much different that one is. So it tells you on the front that there's a sizes extra small to extra large in this men's pattern. And there's 2 shirt views here. They look pretty much the same to me, but it looks like one's got 2 pockets and this one only has 1. This is interesting because it says it includes dress collar with collar stays and button down collar. It's much more tailored. It's tailored, it's not difficult. There's a difference. There's a difference between being tailored and detailed and difficult, okay? Just because something has a lot of details doesn't mean it's difficult. It may take you longer, but it's not more difficult. So don't be intimidated by these things. I want people to feel comfortable and happy about sewing and excited to sew. All right, same deal here. Fabric guide, view A, 44-inch fabric, just like we were talking about before. If I'm gonna make a man's medium shirt, you're gonna need 3 yards. All right, if you're gonna make an extra large, you're gonna need 3.5. A man for XXL is still only gonna need 3.5, which really isn't all that much. Here, up here, it's a little more, less complicated looking. It looks a little less scary. It tells you what you need to have for this. This view A includes a continuous cut-on placket that's in the sleeve, dress collar with pockets for collar stays, So, it's telling you a little bit more about the details in it. This tells you about the suggested fabrics. Just like this one did over here, when it said it was designed for lightweight knits, suggested fabrics, it's saying suitable for a variety of light to medium weight woven fabrics. Woven is different than knit. Quilting, cotton, voile, lawn, shirting, poplin, broadcloth, denim, linen, and flannel. All right. Notions. This one tells you clearly what you're going to need. You're going to need thread, interfacing, buttons. Okay, so when you read the back of the pattern, just sit and relax and take your time. Get a cup of coffee and read over the back of your pattern. Don't be intimidated by it. Don't be nervous and don't be scared.